Do you want to go see the vet? You're going to the vet, Otter? No? What do you want to go see the doctor? No?
So good.
Will you still love us?
No.
Will you still love us after he puts something up your butt and gives you a shot? She's thinking about it. No? Oh, okay. Are you mad, Otter?
Yeah, she's mad.
Well, no, she said no.
Oh, she said no?
She said no. Well, see, she was considering her answer because she knew if she said yes. Oh, that was yes. She just said yes.
Okay, 2 for yes, 1 for no.
Well, actually, yes sounds meow. But no says meow. Meow.
That's so funny. Okay, get over there.
Meow, yes. She said yes. You're interpreting me correctly. My poor kitty. My poor kitty with a possible UTI. Okay, so Gracie and I are taking Otter, who's in the cage behind me. We're going to take her for a wellness check at the vet because she's an old lady cat and she's been acting kind of funny. Actually, since before the kittens came on board, but especially since. So she might just be pouting, or she might just be having old lady problems independent of hating the kittens, or this might be a reaction to hating the kittens. We're just not really sure at this point. So, you know, it's best to check it out and make sure she's okay. So that's what we're doing this beautiful Wednesday.
Yeah.
This beautiful Wednesday morning. So Otter has been giving us an earful of how she is not happy with any of this. She feels that she's having to undergo all kinds of injustice here, and it just is not fair. Isn't that right?
Yes.
We were talking about how the world is getting so different from the world we grew up in, and how that's happened before. I imagine the people who were young adults in, let's say, the 1890s. Yeah, 1890s. By the time 1930 rolled around and into the 40s when they started to die, I imagine that they felt the way we're beginning to feel. That everything that was true about their childhood is no longer true and is completely different. With them, I think it was even more profound because we just keep recycling the same old car designs, the same old house designs, the same old clothing and hair. You know, we've sampled from the 20th century for, you know, the past 50 years probably. But those other folks, they went from long, gorgeous, elaborate dresses and horse and buggy and no telephone. They might have had telegraph, but no telephone.
Oh, this is
And you're going to turn at Herndon. You're going to make a right.
a right.
Yeah. So you'll want to start getting over.
Okie dokie.
And you know, the upper class had servants, the lower class were servants, and that changed with industrialization. So we're in a similar but not the same situation here. But anyway, Otter started to tell us that she agreed, that she was not happy with the way things are going. But what her problem is kittens. Those kittens, she told us that she said that it was like living in a Japanese horror film where awful little Momo monsters followed her around and jumped on her and walked underneath her and glared at her, and she never knows if those phantom horrible ghost creatures are going to jump on her and bite her neck. So she's really having a hard time with the kittens. Yep, she just agreed. Isn't that right, Otter? Yeah. Poor kitty. I feel sorry for him. What a day we have had. So we get Otter to the vet. We walk into the office and get up to the counter, and our appointment was at 9:40. We got up to the counter at 9:52. There were no parking places on the wellness check side of this complex. We had to park over by where they do the spay and neutering and, walk her around. And there was a guy standing next to us complaining because they said they couldn't see him because he was late. And he said, well, I have a 9:40 meeting and appointment and it's 9:52. And I guess he'd been standing there for a couple minutes. And the lady behind the counter says, yes, but we only have a 10-minute grace period, so you have to make another appointment. So I step up and I say, okay, well, if he's having trouble, then I'm having trouble too, because it's I also have a 9:40 appointment and it's 9:52 now. And so, what's up? Lady says, well, you have to make another appointment. I said, okay, can I just cancel this appointment and have you refund my money? Because you have to pay up front before you even show up to this vet. It's one of the low budge vets in our area. Oh yeah, no problem, but it'll be 5 to 10 days before you get your refund. I said, okay, well, can I have a receipt? She said, well, we already emailed you a receipt, which they did. And so I said, okay, fine. Now, I may not get my $40 back. And if I don't, it's not all that big of a deal, because as far as I'm concerned, it's a $40 donation to this super low budget spay and neuter clinic that also has the wellness checks as well. And so that won't freak me out too badly. But on the way home, I called around and I found a different vet. So we're going to take her in a few days to a different vet. These people didn't require, us to pay for it up front or any of that. And it was about the same price. They were $50 to have your cat checked. So, that's cool. Plus they had really, really good reviews. People seem to like this vet. It's a family. I think it's a father and son, and they're both vets. And it's apparently it is still owned by the family. I don't think it was something that's been purchased by, private equity or whatever. So we're driving home, and Gracie and I were both completely freaked out and not feeling good about, having to turn around and take her home. So we pulled over at McDonald's. We had a breakfast at McDonald's. We had coffee. We each had a breakfast meal. I had the number 6 sausage and egg McGriddle with the little patty of potato. I don't know, what do you call that? What's that called?
Hash brown.
A hash brown patty. And she had like a sausage biscuit or something with the same thing. We both had coffee. So we're sitting there in the line getting ready to order, and this panhandler comes up to the driver's side. Gracie was driving, and he says, excuse me, ladies. He says, do you guys have any change? And I said, well, I don't have any change now. I said, but after we pay for our food, I'll meet you at the end. How's that? Oh, well, okay. So he wandered off. And of course I had plenty of change, but I wasn't going to hand it to him right there. I wanted to make him work for it. So we pay for our stuff. We had to pull up and wait for them to bring it out. So we were pulling around, and the guy's standing off, and he's kind of looking at us, and I motioned him over to the car, and I said, and I had $2 in my hand. I said, here. And I look at him and I say, you have fun with this. And I handed it to him. But the place was surrounded by panhandlers. How many panhandlers were what? At least 4, right? Yeah, and we were held captive waiting in space number 1, waiting for our food to get there. But just as we pulled up to space number 1, a cop of some stripe or another rolls by, and all the panhandlers get on their bikes and they ride off. so, so, why did I give $2 to a panhandler? Well, because that Bible verse keeps running through my mind, that, and I'm going to paraphrase it, that basically says, whatever you do to the least of me, you also do to me. So, if someone who needs something, even if it's just money for booze or pot or whatever, someone who is less fortunate than you are comes within your line of vision, if you can reach out to that person, you do it, because you can, I could speak of this in Christian terms, but let's even speak of it in bigger terms than that, just like general positivity in the universe terms. That stuff comes back to you. And, I know the guy wasn't buying food with it. He's buying who knows what. He's buying some kind of fix of one stripe or another. And but that's not up to me to judge. That's not up to me to edit. If I can help, I will. So even if my helping doesn't actually help, that's not the point of the giving. So anyhow, so we did that, and we picked up our mail, and we headed on home, and we had some dinner. We just knocked around, did some stuff. Well, so tonight we need to get rid of a bunch of stuff around all of our properties. It is time to get rid of stuff. And my neighbor Loretta, she says, sometimes people put stuff up by the mail pod. There's a big wide space in the road, and they put stuff up there, and they put a sign that says free, and the stuff is gone like immediately. She said, I wonder if you could get rid of some stuff just by giving it away up at the mail pod. And so Gracie and I thought about that. We decided, well, we're going to pull a Lucy&Ethyl caper tonight. We're going to put a few things in the trunk of my car. And what we put in it was 2 iron bar height stools and an old lamp, right? Just to test the waters. And I made a free sign that I put on the side of a box. And so we drive up to the mail pod, and it's dark, right? And I pull up, and I said, okay, Gracie, you get out and you go stand in front of the mail pod and pretend like you're getting your mail. So she goes and stands there, and she pretends, and I jump out of the car, and I'm pulling this clanky iron crap out of the back of my car, and I'm setting it up so that's not in the line of where any traffic would go. It's way off to the side, and I put the free sign on top of it, and I'm like, okay, come on, let's go. The place where we pull over is right up above a little hollow where I'm pretty sure they're meth heads, where the local meth heads live. The meth heads in the holler right there. And sometimes they're gone, sometimes they're there. Tonight they happen to be there, but they couldn't really see what we were doing. And so I was moving real fast because I did not want the meth heads in the holler to come walking up to snoop around and see what we're doing and know that it was us that was doing it, right? So we did all of that. We jump in the car, and we're driving back down the driveway. And I'm like, Ethel, I said, man, I hope that Fred and Ricky don't find out what we did tonight. And of course, we're being incredibly stupid, and we're laughing at our own hilarious stupidity all the way home. So anyway, we'll see if that stuff disappears by tomorrow. And if it does, I'm going to keep funneling stuff up there. See what moves and what stays. And if anything stays more than 2, 3, 4 days, well, I'll haul it back down and we'll put it in the dump pile or whatever. But that was tonight's escapade. Gracie's got church tomorrow. I've got to get up and continue to put junk in bags to be thrown out. I'm really dedicated to doing that right now. And Grant is going to be taking the car out to a friend's shop because he has to balance the tires. He just got new tires for the Avalon. So we are all going to be busy tomorrow, and I'll go up there this tomorrow afternoon and see if that stuff's gone or not. Oh Lord, it does not take much to entertain me. It really does not. So, on that note, I'm going to say goodbye, and I'll talk to you guys later.